Hi, it's another week of Tea with a Shepherd, and I'm excited to dig into chapter 21 with you as we're getting closer and closer to the death and resurrection of Jesus and that whole story as it unfolds. So we're jumping into verse 1 through verse 9, and this is about the triumphal entry. As they were approaching Jerusalem, they came to Bethpage on the Mount of Olives. Jesus sent two disciples with these instructions: Go into the village ahead of you, and you will immediately find a donkey tethered there with his colt. Untie them and bring them to me. If anyone says anything to you, tell him the Lord needs them, and he will let them go at once. This happened in order to fulfill what had been spoken through the prophet. Say to the daughter of Zion, Look, your king is coming to you, riding humbly on a donkey, and on a colt, the offspring of a beast of burden. So the disciples went and did as Jesus had directed them. They brought the donkey and the colt and put their robes on them, and Jesus sat on them. Crowds of people carpeted the road with their clothing, while others cut branches from trees and spread them on the road. The crowds ahead of him and behind shouted, Please deliver us, or Hosanna, to the Son of David. Blessed is he who comes in the name of Adonai, in the name of the Lord. You in the highest heaven, please deliver us. Hosanna. Okay, so let's talk about some background again, of course. They're coming from Bethpage. Bethpage is known as the house of unripe figs, of early figs, and this is going to be very important in actually tomorrow's post. So keep that in mind as we kind of go along this trek in chapter 21. Now, according to John 12, we know that this took place 6 days before the Passover. The triumphal entry was 6 days before the Passover, and this is when Jesus arrives into the area. Now, we also know that he came up because of where they're coming from in the Jericho area. They're coming up the backside of the Mount of Olives. And we're seeing a shift now. Before, where Jesus was saying, don't tell anybody that of these miracles, and there wasn't as much confrontation, hardcore confrontation with the religious leaders. But now we're getting into a place he's starting to do that. There's a turning of the tables, which we're going to see even more so again tomorrow. So he is making a bolder proclamation because he knows it's his time, and he's allowing the domino effect to start to take place, to really light the fire that's going to get the event started. Now he says this from, or the promise that's being fulfilled is from Isaiah 62:11 and Zechariah 9:9. The Lord has proclaimed to the end of the earth, say to the daughter of Zion, here your salvation is coming. Here his reward is with him, and his recompense is before him. Zechariah 9:9. Rejoice with all your heart, daughter of Zion. Shout out loud, daughter of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He is righteous and he is victorious. Yet he is humble. He's riding on a donkey. Yes, on a lowly donkey's colt. Then we also see to understand that the kings rode on donkeys in times of peace. And we see this in Judges 5:10-11. You who ride white donkeys sitting on soft saddle blankets and you walking on the road, talk about it. Louder than the sound of archers at the watering holes will they sound as they retell the righteous acts of the Lord, the righteous acts of his rulers in Israel. Then the Lord's people marched down to the gates. Okay, and then in 1 Kings 1:33, we also see that Solomon comes in on a donkey as he's going to be crowned king. So let's read that passage. 1 Kings 1:33. The king said to them, Take with you the servants of your Lord, have Solomon my son ride on my own mule, and bring him down to Gishon. So this is the background. Everything is being fulfilled, promises being fulfilled, prophecies being fulfilled, because that's what Matthew keeps making sure that you understand, that everything from hundreds of years ago is being fulfilled. And he makes it very clear that Jesus truly is the Messiah, because these things aren't possible to happen unless he is the Messiah. So we see this. And also, Jesus is the righteous one that brings salvation, but he's not coming this time as a conquering military leader. He's coming in peace to bring salvation. In fact, what they're saying here to him is, Hosanna, please deliver us. They're saying, save us. to the one, Jesus, whose name actually does mean salvation. They're also throwing their clothes, and that was a symbol of submission. And we see that in 2 Kings 9:13. I think this is with uh, Jehu. 2 Kings 9:13. I'm going to double check, but I think that is with, oops, 2 Kings. There we go. 2 Kings 7:9-13. At this, they hurried each one to take his cloak and put it under Jehu, at the top of the stairs. Then they blew the shofar and proclaimed, Jehu is king. So that's what they would do in submission and recognition that this is our king. And it was that symbol of submitting to that king. Psalms also symbolize nationalism and victory. In this psalm, which is very fascinating, in Psalms 118, we're all over the place this time. Psalms 118. Because 118, and we're going to learn this, is the Hallel, it's included in the Hallel that they sing at the Passover. And of course, we're going to get into the Passover, but this is part of the songs that they sing every year. And they still sing these songs. But before they even sing it, is being prophesied and is being acted upon. So in Psalm 118, verse 25-26, it says, Please, the Lord, save us. Please, Adonai, rescue us. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. We bless you from the house of the Lord. That's exactly what they're saying. And they're saying this to the Son of David. They're recognizing that he is the Messiah. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. You in the highest heaven, Hosanna. And then lastly, this Matthew is the only gospel book that actually talks about the donkey and the colt together. The other ones just talk about the colt, but this one, he's a little bit more specific. He says the donkey and the colt, and this is probably because the colt is too young to be by itself, and he might have been going back and forth because it says riding, the prophecy was riding humbly on a donkey and on a colt. So he might have gone for a little bit on a colt to fulfill prophecy, but again, it's the colt, so it can't do very much. It's a young donkey, and so he would have also switched to the donkey. So that's where we leave off for this first part, and we will dive into the second part, which gets really interesting in tomorrow's video. So stay tuned.